I think Joe is the presenter, so we don't have that much crowd over here today. But it's fine. Let's see how interesting we can take this session. We are going to talk about the realization that has assisted us to evolve. Once again, like yesterday, we had a session on the video evolution. We saw how we improved in our product video development. And let's see today as a whole, like how we contributed towards the information. What are the things that we have changed, or what are the topics we have introduced to make a better customer experience. The intention was how we can give a better customer experience to our users. They should not run around from our documents or products. We should bring them back to our documents, and that's how we can actually talk about our products to them through multiple platforms. So we have categorized this into mainly 4 parts: listening to our customers, so how we are absorbing data from our customers, what are the things that we are doing to understand their sentiments. Then we are delivering the customer-centric solution. So once we listen to our customer, definitely there is a need that we act onto those suggestions or the feedbacks. So we'll see how we have created new kind of documentation packages which are giving more customer-oriented solutions to them. So by that time you have seen, like, we are listening to the customers, we are generating content which are really customer centric, and that means we had to change something in our normal process. So what are the things that we have changed in our documentation which are giving more impact to the customers? So that's how the evolvement happened. So when we are talking about little bit of our strategical changes regarding the document deliverables, definitely we need to measure that, and for that we need to have the proper metrics or some kind of data which will showcase, yes, definitely we are moving forward and our companies are getting benefited out of these changes. So regarding the information evolution, yes, we are in 2014 and we are taking help of different social media platforms. Our information is not only at the support side, rather once posting the documents to the support side, we are taking it further. There are in the middle block, actually you can see the conventional documents that we are talking about. We have conventional documents like PDFs or sometimes the online help with the product itself. Information accessibility, that was an issue for most of the companies. So how we can deliver the conventional documents through different portal, the traditional support system and all. So these are the core deliverables that we have and that will be there for some more time. But what we can do extra so that we can take it to the next step? We have introduced the white papers and videos. We have taken care of analytics part through Google Analytics. We have changed our SEO strategy, and at the end we are moving towards a live content, that's a LC reach we call, so that topics on demand, people can actually search for a particular topic and they are already reached for that particular XML itself. They don't have to browse through the whole guide to reach to that content, they can actually point to that particular XML. So by saying that, that's a journey that we are going to cover. The first thing is listening to our customers. As I told, like, what are the different forums or what are the different mediums that we are using to absorb the information from our customer. Let's just go through it. Top call drivers. These are the major key pointers or differentiators that we are doing. It's as a technical writer, generally we receive data from different people, like, okay, these are the top issues, or these are the trending issues, or these are the field issues. But it's not only getting feedback or data from your marketing or other extended team. Rather, we go through that particular tool, we try to read out what has actually happened over the call. What are the suggestions that our contact center people they have provided to our customers, how the customer responded to those topics, and is it helpful, or do you need to improve such kind of topics? Can we do something better? So we are trying to understand such things. These are specifically for the complex features that we have in our products. So we do this kind of study almost in every quarter to understand the top issues of that quarter. we have technical forums. The content of these technical forums are generated by our customers. So if you see our technical forums like from Dell, we interact with the customer through this. They have all the rights to ask us any kind of questions and we are very happy to answer them. And 70% of the content has been generated by the user itself. So we just respond to them, and it's amazing. Like most of the time we have seen if there's a specific issue, like other customers, they are guiding different customers to get it resolved. Most of the time we even don't involve with them. So there is some specific issues and the other customers, they are addressing that, and we are completely happy with that. Yes, we need to monitor and we need to guide them so that they reach to the content which is already available. So we post or we talk about the videos or white papers or maybe the support page where they can find the company specific document. So by these technical forums, we are actually trying to develop a long-term relationship with the customers. So this is kind of evolving in the trust factor as well. So as long as you are connected with your customers through different forums, they will feel, okay, there's somebody who is actually monitoring my questions or they are working on this. So that's a like progressive, you can say like it's a progressive step. So it's not stopped at any point of time. It's a regular thing that we are doing in our regular job. As a technical writer, it's been our culture that we are going through it. So you have seen like we have gone through the call logs, we have identified the top issues which are there in public forums, even in the third-party forums or company-specific forums. So how to engage the customers or the people over social media. So once you have enough feedback from the customers or you have enough data to work on some critical issues, let's work on a video and don't wait for the next release because the field issue can go viral. Try to address those issues as early as possible. Create your video or white paper, post it to multiple social media platforms. If you are in Twitter, try to get in touch with your customer, try to say like, hey, there is something for you, if you can just look at it. So definitely you will see positive impacts of such things. As I already discussed yesterday, like generally we don't demand for this kind of things. We try to publish our documents and try to follow them so that they know like, okay, Dell is working on such things. So we have multiple forums in Twitter, LinkedIn. So it's the same content we are replicating through different mediums so that all the customers have reached to that. Because it has happened like people who are attached to LinkedIn, maybe they are not that much over Facebook or Twitter. So there is different kind of customers for different social media platforms. So that's another thing we need to take care. Once again, like as I told, like most of the times we have seen like there is an issue or there is something which needs to be addressed quickly, and we have seen customers are actually addressing such kind of issues. They are giving them suggestions. You can do these things in this pattern. So acknowledge their knowledge, appreciate their knowledge, and try to leverage on that so that people can take it further. So these are the major listening part. So once we have listened to our customers, it's time to deliver the customer-centric solutions. I would like to invite Kavita so that she can take it further. Okay.
Thank you, Mainak. Hello, everyone. So Mainak was just talking to us about how we changed our approach in the way we listen to our customers, and as a result of which we are now developing customer-centric solutions. So customer-centric, what does this bring to our mind? Since yesterday we've been listening to most of our speakers who have talked about how they have implemented different technologies to provide deliverables in a different way. They are changing the trends. So what is all this resulting in? But we haven't yet heard from them actually what is the documentation that they are providing differently. We have our core deliverables, the conventional set of documents. So other than this, what are you adding? So can we hear from the audience? Would anyone like to share? In each of your organization, I'm sure that you are doing something other than the core deliverables. Anyone? Yes, so videos are the most interesting part of the new trend now.
In certain cases, we also provide infographics,
Okay.
more intuitive and it's interesting.
Yeah, he's talking about the infographics which are also coming up now. Anyone else? Yeah, Raghu.
We conduct user group meeting every year.
Okay.
One of the representatives from the documentation team, like either documentation manager or documentation lead, who conducts the user group meeting, meets the customers face to face.
Okay.
Collect the feedback from the documentation, and also sometimes we provide some set of documents which are recently released for the make available for the customers. Our customers are primarily physicians, so they have some new requirements for them. So we take inputs from that and we implement them immediately.
Okay, so we have two people talking. Fine. So yeah, we too at Dell have taken initiatives. Let me share what we started off with. Knowledge base articles. I'm sure most of you have heard this term, but where is this information lying in your organization? Information developers are not the only department who are creating information for customers. We have different departments working on a specific product, and I'm sure that all departments do contribute in some way or the other, that they do maintain information for customers in some form or the other. But the point is, all this information is not accessible to our customers, and moreover, it need not be accessible to all the customers. Knowledge base articles are something which I happen to realize that our IPS teams at Dell maintain these. We have our IPS teams who write specific articles to address customer issues. Once the products go to market and we have field issues, we have specific customer issues, and these are addressed with knowledge base articles, but these are not released to all the customers and it's not accessible to everyone. We have the tech support people who address the issues of customers when they get the calls. Tech support people use these knowledge base articles as a source to help them out when they do not have a solution to provide. So these knowledge base articles is something which we took as a base, and we use the information in this to make it accessible to customers in different platforms. But yes, we do need the buy-in of a quality team, our IPS team, as to what information can be provided in the open forums and what we cannot. So we brought this information into our troubleshooting guides, into our FAQ sections, sometimes in our normal user manuals. We put this across in the Dell Tech Center, and it has been accessible to customers who face similar issues. Now let's move on to technical white papers. Yes, a common term again. Most of us technical writers have been given technical white papers to edit, to rephrase, etc. So what are these technical white papers about? When we have our user guides, most of the time we see that we cannot put in really technical information which we know may not be useful to the customers. But there are some advanced users who definitely need a more technical aspect of the feature that they're working on. They need a little bit background of what is used for this feature. They need more conceptual information, and this may be too technical and it may make the user guides which we are working on too bulky to include such information. So technical white papers have been channelized to bring in such information, and we make sure that these papers are unique in the information. It's like we do not bring in whatever is available in our user guides to be repeated in these papers. They are unique for a specific issue, and they are maintained by, and they are written by feature experts. So this is definitely useful for advanced users, and it has brought in more potential customers into the mainstream. Moving on to blogs. Blogs are really common. We have everyone having their own blogs now. So what are corporate blogs? And what is it that we are doing differently with these corporate blogs? I'm sure most of the organizations do have blogs now. Would anyone like to share what they're doing with these blogs and how they are using blogs to communicate information to your customers?
We invite our users community to come forward and share their experience and their practices that they have gained at the sites. And based on that, we have a SME who facilitates and moderates that discussion if there's any.
Okay.
And as far as the writers are concerned, so we need to look out that what content will be useful for us to take it back from those
Correct.
and put it in the right place.
Yes.
Easily accessible and consumed by the users.
Yes, exactly. So blogs are basically, as we have Shrikant, sorry. We have Shrikant saying, they are basically an informal way of getting across to our customers the small informations that possibly we cannot put across through our documents, through our forums, other forums. Blogs are basically very informal communication. We need to announce something. Say we have an interesting feature coming up in our next release, or we have a new release coming up. We can inform our customers who are regular users of our Dell Tech Center or the other forums. So we can communicate to them using a blog saying, hey, we have this new feature coming up, we have an interesting release coming up. And sometimes we do read across the forums, there is some kind of criticism from some customers. They may not like something about the organization, they may not be too comfortable in the way they are reading information. So some kind of small criticism we read and we want to address that. It is possible through our blogs. So we have used blogs in a way where we can become more communicative with our customers in an informal manner. And yes, they are allowed to comment, so it builds up a thread which is more friendly. So moving on to wiki pages. Wiki pages, yes, as we know, wiki pages do hold vast information covering different areas of a product. We do have our user guides, we do have our reference guides, but they are limited to what the product is, what are the features, how we are going to use the features. And yes, we do have other additional documents which we spoke of just now to help the customers. But wiki pages is something which is a repository of information owned by the company, maintained by the experts, the product owners. So we have content which is very, very reliable, and the customers can access such content easily. The main thing is when the customers need more information about a product, they should feel that yes, when I access this wiki page related to this product or related to this topic, I'm sure that I will get all the information which I need, and I'm sure that all the information I read is accurate. So this is a kind of loyalty that we keep the customers coming back to our wiki pages. And another thing I'd like to mention is we see that wiki pages are controlled by the organization. But yes, we have our technical forums which Mainak just spoke about. Our technical forums are open forums where customers are free to talk about what they want and what they are free to express anything what they feel about the product, any information they need, and there's no limit to that. So we see that most of the content that is generated through our forums, around 70% of the information is generated through our customers and not by the organization. So now coming to the most interesting part, product videos. There's not much that I'll share about this because Mainak has already spoken a lot about it yesterday. But yes, product videos, as we know, is something which is really captivating now and really helpful to our customers. We have also seen the evolution in the product videos, and when this mode of communication is used aptly, it really brings in a lot of difference in the customer experience. So now we heard how we changed our approach in the way we listen to our customers, and result of which we have brought in a different set of documentation which is completely different from our core deliverables. So how did we evolve from listening and bringing out this documentation. We'll see how we evolved, and I would like to hand it over to Mainak again to continue with this.
Thank you, Kavita. I really appreciate your effort. While she is just moving back to her seat, she met with an accident just a month back. She went through surgery, and I'm really happy that she can stand today and deliver her speech. Thank you, Kavita. Till now we have seen like what are the changes we have made on our documents, what are the things that we have observed from our communities. Now let's see where we have actually evolved. See, as a technical writer, generally we don't work too much on the SEO part. I don't know how many of you guys are implementing SEOs in your documentation strategy. Can I get few examples? Okay. So how you are putting all those metadata into your documentation? While posting it? Mm-hmm. So with the output format itself, you are packaging all this metadata. Okay. Are you tracking like if people are using the same kind of keywords to reach to your document? Mm-hmm. Great. That means you have some kind of ecosystem which is giving you the information. Yes, we have this metadata tagged within our document and people are using the same sets of keywords to reach to that. Okay. Yes, the scenario is pretty same, but we have taken some extra steps because whenever we are talking about the posting of our core deliverables, generally we post it in our company support site so that people can reach there and catch the information. But if you see, the trend is changing. People, they are not coming to so-and-so.com and searching for it. Most of the users, they are going to Google or any other search engines which are already inbuilt with the browser. They don't open the Google page also. The Google search is already inbuilt within on the right pane itself. The same thing with Bing. You don't have to open a separate window for Bing. So it's more user friendly for the customers to use their own browser. That means they are not coming to your support site and going for the documentation. That means they are coming from a different source. Now these search engines, they have different crawlers. They don't understand your product. They understand only the code which is there behind your HTML page or the support page. So how you can optimize that? So we have gone through the same kind of thing. We have analyzed what are the relevant keywords. We have taken care of the sentiments which is coming from different level of users. There can be advanced users, there can be novice users. Even within your organization, you can have different people who are working on the same product. So we try to interview them to understand the keywords for the particular feature or the product itself. Once we have a list of keywords, we try to use such keywords in our documents, especially in the heading level. So the top level should have all the keywords, because the descriptive part will come little later. So a crawler will go through all the headings first, then it will go through the information. So we try to implement our SEO strategies in that way. There's a key aspect, like if your heading or maybe the guide name itself is more than 60 characters, the crawlers will not read the rest of them, so they can only pick the first 60 characters. So the same thing is valid for YouTube analytics also. So we have made sure like our documentation names are very small and it's up to the point. Like and for few cases actually we had to remove Dell from our documentation, because Dell is already a proper brand in the market and they have a huge presence. So we don't want to bring Dell with all the product names, because SEO impact will happen. Once you are putting Dell, Dell is related to many things. So we are trying to make our own portfolio, our own product brand through all these deliverables that Kavita already explained to us. As Srikant was explaining us like how to follow up with the analytics stuff, so little bit of that we have covered. We are taking care of all our data through Google Analytics. We have few people who are already trained in this domain and they are doing it in a regular basis. So everything what you are seeing now are done by the technical writers only. that's an amazing part in Dell. Like we have so many interested people who are spending a huge amount of time for the social media activities, and that's the result for this. We really document our code deliverables, but on top of that, we have this kind of passion within our DNA so that we can take it forward. Um, Recently, we have made a huge change regarding the video development and the white paper template. We understood like a majority of our customers are like in the middle age, like young generation, maybe 25 to 35, that region. So they are the latest user of the data center. So we have changed our white paper template based on that requirement. Earlier we had a huge section of copyrights. We used to talk lots of things in the copyright. We have reduced that section completely. There was an executive summary of a page itself. We reduced that to a single paragraph so that it's up to the point. People are directly reading what they want to read, because these people, they will not stay for your documentation. They will not go through your documentation for a while until they are interested into that. Regarding the video, when you have done the analytics part of that video, we understood like if you are not able to catch their attention within the first 10 seconds, they will run off. Like you can see, there is a drop. It's very common for any kind of YouTube videos. It can be your product videos, or it can be the most latest song which is coming out from Bollywood. So we have done that. Like we have removed so many things like the prerequisites or installation part from the videos, directly jumping to the topic and just showing off what are the steps. So these are the things that we have implemented through Google Analytics and little bit of YouTube Analytics. I want to talk about the outbound links or the inbound links. Kavita was discussing like what are the deliverables that we are doing which on top of our regular product deliverables, which are basically customer centric. The customer centric deliverables, the basic intention is to create more sources or generate more leads to your code deliverable documents. So everywhere we post some video or white paper, generally we give the reference where they can search for the code documentation itself. So it's inbound and outbound link that we are creating from different multimedia platforms, different social media platforms. So once they can see like, okay, I have a few more information about this to the Dell.com site, they will be redirected from YouTube to Dell site. And sometimes even in Dell site, for more videos, please view our channel over YouTube. So it's like bi-directional. That's how search engines are being interacted with the set of keywords that we have in our documents or the code deliverables, and all the sites like YouTube, your company specific forum, and the support platform. Everywhere these keywords are there, and they all are getting the boosting of the page rank. So that's how we have implemented this thing, and it's an ongoing process. They have introduced lots of filter, so we are trying to capture the data, and definitely will evolve from that. As we have gone through the listening part, we have seen once we have listened to our documents, we have delivered few customer-centric documents which are not conventional, and we have also seen how we have measured their impact. Now let's see something, some small data I want to discuss. So these are the things which are changing in our market right now. We have increased our brand value a lot. I'm not talking about the brand value of my company, rather I'm talking about the brand value of my product itself. Their customers are very much familiar with the product name. They are not calling it Dell OpenManage or Dell CMC. They're directly calling it like CMC and OpenManage, VRTX. These are PowerEdge. These are the servers and all. Yes, we have taken care of likes and dislikes. If people are disliking it, we are trying to get involved with them over different forums to understand why they are not able to recollect or they are not able to go on through this. So if you have gone through your dislikes, and those are the like major sources of your feedback, and at the end you will see like there can be like only one procedure which is not described properly, or maybe it's only a few small notes which are not directly relevant to that topic. So, but yes, that's a customer sentiment and that's important for him. And whenever he will see like, okay, this thing is not conveying the exact message to me, there's a possibility that you will get some dislike. So we need to work on that and make those customers and bring them to the positive mind frame, so that they don't only use our product, they also vouch for our product. So there is a core team within Dell, which they call it like Dell Rockstar. They work day in, day out, engaging with the customers, and it's their job itself. We have satisfaction quotient analysis, same thing as Srikant was discussing. It's basically try to understand what are the factors they are liking in our documents and what are the factors they are not liking. So how we can merge both of them, like how we can turn the dislikes to the liking pattern. Multi-language support. This is not the support for our documentation. This is the multi-language support for the videos that we are delivering right now. We have done the sentiment analysis and the demographic study for the YouTube channel. So we have a huge channel where we have close to 1,000 videos, and there are lots of product videos and with few interviews, some training sessions and all. These channels are used by our marketing team regularly for the demos and product marketing purpose as well. So while working on the analytics part, we understood like there is a huge customer base in China, Taiwan and that side, and also in Latin America we have a huge customer base. They don't prefer English that much because that's not the native language. So we for information in the English. A part of that, we have created multi-language XML files, and we have sources or generating more customers from different region. We are not dependent on our English video itself. So that's how we are spreading this stuff. Okay, business return. There's a small graph. If you can see, like we are calling it issues and RFIs. RFIs are nothing but request for information calls, and these issues are like which are actual real-time issues that we are not able to solve over the call. Maybe we need to send some service guys. So those are mainly hardware specific. But if you see, the RFI call was the major chunk that like people used to call our contact center guys and they used to ask, how can I do this? How can I configure my RAID? Or what is your installation guide? I'm not getting it in the support side. I need a specific use case scenario for MD320 or something, some machine itself. So there, like that's the time like we used almost 54% call on such kind of issues. Actually, we already have the information, but maybe that was not that accessible. That was not reaching to our customers in proper time or through the proper search engines. So once, and this is a study which was done in Q3 FY14. So within 1 year, we have actually, this is the result of Q2 FY14. So you can see just 9 months we took to turn the scenario around. And we have RFIs down to 33% or so. Like there is a huge improvement of the calls, like in the sense. Our documentations, videos, they became so available for the customers that they are not calling us and asking, how do I configure my RAID anymore? Rather, they are asking like, what do we need to do with this? Or maybe my system is down, or I need some support, there's a damage in my system. So those are fine, those are absolutely fine. But customers, they're actually saving lots of money for those support calls. And definitely, it's bringing the trust factor of Dell. And the same money will be invested behind the Dell product side. So it's a loop itself. We have received positive feedbacks for that. Quick responses to the field issues. Like there is no service level agreement that I have to answer my customer queries which are there in forum. We don't have that thing. Yeah, definitely if it is a call, we have some SLA. But for forums, we don't have that. Now, once you have the information already available with you, you just need to redirect them. So that's how we have improved our real-time interactions with the customers. We have the stuff over different channels. We're just redirecting them. And most of the time, customers, they are able to search for those topics. And huge booster for the technical marketing people. They are using all our documents and the videos for the demos and new customer interaction. Sometimes we deliver our product with couple of videos or the links so that they know how to configure it or how to start with that product itself. So generally overview kind of videos and all. So that's some reduce on OpEx. It's basically once you have lesser call, definitely you are saving a lot of money. So I'm not going to discuss that thing in details because I know you might be familiar with the OpEx and all. So these are the net benefit that we have received from our customers' feedback and all. So this is one journey that we wanted to cover, like where we were and what we are delivering now. So that's all from our side. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. It's an operational cost, quarterly operational cost. It's basically the amount of money that you are investing for your support. How do you reduce that? So once you have lots of videos, white papers supporting your code deliverables or code documents, those kind of calls will reduce, right? The request for information calls. So that's how you can save a lot of money. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you once again. Thanks for coming to this session.
That was an informative session by Mainak Roy and his colleague. How we change the approach to listen to our customers and how customer centric we have become. And we have also heard how tech writers have evolved with more trends. So with that, I thank Mainak Roy and Kavita. I request the first speaker, Shrikanta Dash, to give away the memento. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will now break for the tea and come back with announcement.